Not yet. You were a test subject, probably for Iris too. So
You mean Florida leading the way again?
Stevie picked me right when I had my mouth full.
Hey, I got my crackers right here. I didn't have lunch either. But
Steve, this is Evie Cologne. Yes, we do Zoom meetings we have to do our meetings virtually now, so it works out really well.
That's great. That's great. It's you just have to go with an open mind and take it as it comes and what they call it, embrace it and move forward with it.
Yeah.
And that's what the fine folks at the KFB team have done, and how Florida affiliates are doing now too. And everybody else is associated with trying to communicate, interact with other folks. I really didn't want to get too specific about the statistics of the grant. All I just want to say is, currently we have $15,000 match, as well as helping to increase their return on investment. And that's always a good thing. And I know, like in the dashboard too, that a lot of the numbers that you report to the DOT grant, you're also reporting to KAB in the dashboard. So that is twofold benefit: one, to the department and the matching part, and two, to helping get your numbers up with Keep America Beautiful. And with that said, I thought about going into the history of KFB, because I've been doing this since 1989. But I thought, well, it's a new day at KFB, and Mary Jean's done a fantastic job over the last 5 years with managing the grant and helping and supporting the local Florida affiliates. So kudos to her and the job well done that she has done over these last 5 years. And with that, I can open it up for some questions if anybody has any. And if not, just send me an email or let me know what questions you may have, and I'll be happy to answer them. But again, thank you all for the great job you do and continue to do in our state. And please stay healthy and safe during this COVID times. And that, I'd like to say I am done.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Well, I don't know if you all know where I've been, but I've been in internet purgatory here. So
You've been in the virtual world.
I was. You can probably all relate to this. I've been working from home, but my internet is not that great at home. So I came to my office where internet is always perfect. And then you know what happened. So thank you, Savannah, and everyone else for taking over for me. Thank you, Steve, for jumping in earlier than you were scheduled, and apologies for that really crazy little series of events that if you didn't know what was happening, then that means they all did a really good job. So thank you. So Steve, yeah. So where was this? What was this picture? That's a great smile you have.
I didn't see that one.
So you were getting an award?
No, I think we were giving an award out.
Oh, nice.
That was probably, if I'm not mistaken, down in Lee County.
Great.
Anyway,
well,
thank you
so much.
Thank you for the great job you're doing.
Really appreciate you. So Thank you all. Boy, I wish I could have known what was going on during that time. But anyway, Pat, how are you? Pat DePlasco, Executive Director of Keep Pinellas Beautiful and Chair of the KFB Affiliate Council, is up next. So Pat, if you haven't already, unmute yourself. Steve, if you would mute yourself. And then Pat, welcome. And
Thank you so much.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Gabrielle. You know, it's one of the wonderful things about technology, especially this newer technologies. We're all learning it together. You know, I mean, these things, and I think we can be a little bit more patient because of that. I know my staff, we've been going through all of these things, and I know my staff is just so patient with me. And teaching me as we go. I still don't get half the stuff they're telling me, but that's okay. So we understand your pain. Definitely understand your pain. Thank you so much, Steve. It's always nice to see you and hear from you. And I just wanted to do a little bit of a shout out about how much Steve has helped us over the years. And as I'm going to be talking about milestones, I just want you to know that Steve's been with us, as he mentioned, the whole time. And he's always been a person that we can count on to help us through this, you know, and it is confusing. It is, the FDOT grant is, and I love the money and I am very grateful for it, but it's a time consuming, tough thing to get through every year. And I'm sure I'm speaking, you know, to the choir, you know, about what the choir feels, but we do appreciate all that you do to help us, and thank you. Okay, well, now we're celebrating, now we're going to be celebrating some more things here. I'm going to be talking about milestones. You know, we don't really get a lot of pats on the back. You know, and it's a time where I think we should take some time every once in a while to congratulate people, to let everybody know what a great job we're doing. We have a phenomenal network here in Florida. I would say the best in the country, but could I be prejudiced? Whatever. Anyway, but we have a number of affiliates that have been around an awful long time. You know, we go all the way back to 30 years. So what we're going to be doing today is just celebrating the affiliate anniversaries, starting with 5 years. And I'd like to say congratulations to Keep Lake Placid Beautiful and Keep Miami Beautiful for 5 years. 15 years of existence, Keep Miami Gardens Beautiful. 20 years, Keep North Miami Beautiful. 25 years, Keep Alachua County Beautiful. Keep Broward Beautiful, Keep Highlands County Beautiful, Keep Pensacola Beautiful, and Keep Tampa Bay Beautiful. Now, 30 years, I mean, heck, 30 years is a long time. And I know Trish is not on the call right now, and she hasn't been there for 30 years, but she's in the 5 Club with me. But Keep Lee County Beautiful has been in existence for 30 years. And one of the things I wanted to mention, and I know I got a little pushback from Mary Jean about talking about this, but this year is the 30th year that Keep Florida Beautiful has been around. And, you know, yes, we had some in between that we weren't here together again, but we're here, we're back, and we're strong. And you're celebrating a milestone year, and be proud of all the work that we've done. We've made a tremendous impact here in Florida. The next section is our affiliate directors, and I got to laugh because I'm the first one here for 5 years, but I have some members of the 5-year club with me. Yes, I've been here with 5 years, but I've been with the organization for more years than I even care to count. Under that, but that's good. Thank you. Get rid of me. We want to celebrate Trish Fancher, Keep Lee County Beautiful. She's been executive director for 5 years. We also have, and we're very grateful for her service, we also have Rhonda Harvey, the executive director of Keep Charlotte Beautiful, 5 years of service. Congratulations. Great job. And the last in the 5-year club with us is Kristen King. And Kristen, you know, it's so funny that you and I are both celebrating milestones. It's the year that we're having something to do with this presentation, but congratulations again. Then we come up to 10 years. 10 years, and I was a part of when Debbie first came on board, so We're very grateful. Debbie Evenson with Keep Tampa Bay Beautiful is celebrating her 10 years of service with Keep America Beautiful affiliates. And last but not least, we have Katie Yaxel from Keep Polk County Beautiful. Katie has, I mean, as long as I can remember, Katie's been a shining face with our organization, and you all should be very proud of the years that you've served. And you know what's so neat about each and every one of the people that have celebrating is they're so much believers in the mission. You know, we care about what we're doing, and it's very nice to recognize you today. Certificates will be in the mail. And the last but not least, what we'd like to recognize is Tony Sasso. You know, Tony came to our Keep Florida Beautiful family about, I guess about 10 years ago. I'm trying to remember. I know I was introduced to him through Larry Weber, but he came to us with a can-do attitude, and he's assisted us to raise the level of excellence of not Keep Brevard Beautiful, but of Keep Florida Beautiful and all the Florida affiliates here. He participates not only as an executive director and board member for Keep Brevard Beautiful, but he also participates and continues to participate on the Keep Florida Beautiful board. When I talked with the staff at Keep Brevard Beautiful, I was trying to get some information to share some stories so I could at least, you know, make something nice, you know, some sort of little thank you gesture for Tony. I was impressed. I was impressed with the words that were I heard over and over and over again. I mean, I always thought of him as just a great support person. You know, he would give, you know, always willing to help, always willing to share his thoughts and just raise the level of our organizations. But the words that came out in some of their descriptions in the conversations were, he encouraged us. He empowered us. He influenced us and the community. He helped us. He stepped in. He assisted us, and he led. Tony, you've made a significant difference within the communities that you've served, and we want to thank you for your service. And this is not goodbye. This is just a small recognition for you and for all that you've done. And we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.
Would we like Tony to say a few words?
That would be great. Where are you, Tone?
Unmute yourself if you're here. I see you. Can we hear you? Just unmute. No microphone. He's pointing thumbs down. Aw. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to get a picture. Keep those thumbs up for a minute. Hang on. All right. Then go ahead and continue on with your next introduction if you don't mind.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. David Cross, our keynote speaker on the topic of diversity and inclusion. Mr. Cross was introduced to us by our Keep Florida Beautiful board member, Aaron Black, who works with David at Coca-Cola. Aaron has spoke very highly of the work that he has done there, and he has served over 20 years in the form of leadership throughout the country and other companies. And his leadership experience includes his current role as the Senior Vice President of Human Resources at Coca-Cola Beverages in Florida. Let's give a big welcome to David Cross.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Glad to be here. I'm just checking the video because I don't know. Can you see me? Hello?
Yeah.
18?
Keep talking for a minute.
Just doing a double check and make sure you can hear me. Can you see me?
Your video is off, but your microphone is on.
Okay, well, let's start. For some reason, my video is not coming on right now. I'm going to stop it and try to reshare it.
Technology. Got that.
There we go.
For a minute. I saw you for a second there. There was a blip.
Any luck now?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, thank you, everybody, for allowing me to spend a little bit of time with you today. As the team mentioned, I'm David Cross. I lead the human resources function here at Coke, Florida. And just the other day, Erin Black and I, who I at least see her box out there on your face, but Erin and I were talking, and she had mentioned you guys were having a board meeting here, and we're looking for someone to speak a little bit about the topic of diversity and inclusion and board diversity. And you know, as we were chatting through it, I guess I drew the long straw, not the short straw, and I was one of the folks who was nominated. So it's a great honor to be with you today. See a couple of familiar faces around the table, but just really wanted to spend some time and talk about the topic of diversity and inclusion. A little bit about me there. 25 years in the HR business, so I've been doing this for a while. Many years as an HR professional, spent some time as a chief diversity officer here in Chicago. Fortunate to join Coca-Cola just Florida here in 2015. We actually launched. I was just talking about who we are from a Coke Florida perspective. Had a number of different roles over the course of my career, but D&I has always been a passion point for me for a lot of different reasons, and some of those will come to life through today's conversation and presentation. But it's one topic that's certainly getting a lot of airtime, a lot of airplay right now as we go through a lot of the social unrest, civic unrest, and social injustice here and around the U.S. and globally. And so that'll all tie into today's conversations. We really talk about ultimately getting to a place of more diversity for you guys. And ultimately, yep.
David, I apologize for interrupting, and I'm so glad you're here. It seems that you have a challenged internet connection, so if you would actually turn your video back off, just so we can hear your voice, because you were cutting out due to the internet issue.
No, that's a shame. So is this better with the video off?
It is better.
Okay. So I'll be the faceless person behind the screen as we continue to move forward today. So I apologize for that. Erin, who controls our facilities, knows that we have some technology challenges, particularly as we work through this COVID-19 situation, like many of you, as we try to make sure that our bandwidth is right. But hopefully the sound is clear, and you can get us for sound is clear and it works for you right now. So just let me know if it doesn't.
You actually sounded better for a bit, and then it's cutting out again. How
about now?
Okay, keep talking for us.
I'm going to keep talking. You just tell me if it is not any better. Is
right now,
it okay now?
Good. Right now, it's excellent. Thank you.
Perfect. I will lean into my computer. That should help. So just to continue on, so a little bit about me. So talk about the D&I space. Me personally, so I always like to make sure you guys know a little about me. So I'm the lucky father of 4 daughters. They go from 10 to 22. So beautiful wife, girl dog. So I'm outnumbered. I've been outnumbered for the last 20 plus some odd years. And so that formulates a unique perspective for me as we talk about kind of the diversity space a little bit and how my views get formed. Born in San Diego, raised in Chicago, and that Chicago point will come to life here in a minute to give it an example or two. Had the good fortune to sit on any boards of my career, certainly a number of boards from a passion point perspective, but also had a chance to be a board chair on a number of different occasions. So I know the value of what you guys are trying to do. One, I applaud your efforts, and yeah, I know you have full-time jobs and additional commitments outside of what you're doing today. So it's awesome that you're able to devote time and attention to certainly a worthy cause. They'll join right before you turn it over. Saw some recognition and some honoring going on. So that's terrific. So applaud all of your folks and efforts that you put forth. Raise your hand, Gabrielle.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you again. We are having challenges with your audio. I do think there's some bad internet where you are, and I don't know if leaning in is going to help, but certainly right now the internet is not working very well. Can you?
Are you getting a little bit of a delay, or what are you getting?
No, it sounds like right. So I don't know how else to explain it. It's really difficult to understand, and we know you're saying great things, and we want you. We want to hear you. So
let's.
It's Erin. Do you think you could dial in and then just mute your computer?
Yeah, we can do that.
Well, no, because we have your presentation, although I could run your presentation.
He's still running. He just can mute his computer, and so he won't get the feedback through the computer and just speak through the phone.
All right, let's give that a try. So you should still be able to share your screen, but dial in via audio, via telephone, and then it should be fine.
Doing it now. Let's see.
Thank you. Technology, you know, you just never know, and especially with internet, with all the storms lately, even storms up north right now are impacting internet elsewhere, and I think that's what happened in my office, quite frankly. So it's always fun. The first line of defense typically is turn your camera off when the audio is having problems, because it's normally a bandwidth issue, but sometimes it's other things.
All right, let's try it.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your participant ID followed by a pound. Otherwise, just press pound to continue. Please enter the meeting password followed by pound. You entered 0. This meeting password is invalid. Please re-enter the meeting password followed by pound. You are in the meeting now. There are more than 50 participants in the meeting. This meeting is being recorded. You are muted. You can mute or unmute yourself by pressing *6.
Now
Okay.
that go ahead. I'm going to mute your other audio. Speak for us. David, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. We can hear you now. And now we can't hear you. We were doing so good until that first internet.
So I'm going to do this. How about I'll log off. You can share the screen. Well, I got the presentation.
Let me pull your presentation up.
So no better, huh?
Well, we're getting feedback right now because you, I think you still have your sound up on the other system. So if you'll turn the sound down and just listen on the phone, it should be better.
Nope, it's still gonna echo.
Are you able to turn the sound off on your laptop?
Yep. So the sound is off my laptop.
Can you speak now?
Still not working. Laptop is off.
Laptop's on.
Speaker off. Let's see here.
Keep talking and I'm going to attempt to mute you on my end. Just count to 10 for me, please.
1, 2, 3.
Oh my goodness. We lost your audio completely.
So when you
How about
mute
now?
David, are you on the phone?
I'm on the phone.
Oh, there you go.
Number a 513 number?
It is.
Okay, what I'm seeing is that is muted. So I'm gonna unmute that and then I want you to speak for a minute.
Okay, now I'm on the phone.
Good. Now give me another minute and I'm going to mute your other one. No, it is, okay.
How about now?
Good.
Getting better? Getting close?
I think we're good.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Oh, okay, and that's clear, no echo?
Well, it's still echoing, but it was better than cutting.
Oh, gosh. Hopefully it's not too annoying at this point. So Aaron, I'm doing Aaron check. Can you hear me okay, Aaron?
I can hear you fine, and you're not echoing on my end.
All right, perfect. Let's run through it. So I apologize. Appreciate the patience with this. I'll try to do a quick rewind, recognizing we've got time is short, and I want to make sure you guys keep your meeting on track. So just let me know if we're back off. But again, David Cross, Coca-Cola Beverages, Florida, 25 years in HR business, family, 4 daughters, wife, wonderful wife, dog. Female dog, and born in San Diego, raised in Chicago. Had the fortune to be on a number of boards, so I understand your focus on board diversity and why you're trying to increase your board diversity and what that ultimately can mean from an outcomes perspective. So where you're at and what you're trying to do completely makes sense. So I'm going to keep it moving forward. So hopefully you're still able to hear me. So
We're still good on time. You have like 45 minutes, so no, don't stress over time, okay?
All right, because Aaron knows I could talk, so I want to make sure I don't put you too far behind. So that's me. I think you guys have a different slide up of me, but let's talk a little bit about if I could. Let's see, trying to advance the screen.
Remember, you don't have control of the screen anymore. I'm actually controlling your screen.
You are in control, so you got it. Perfect.
You're using your phone right now, so.
That's right. So you're perfect. So let me tell a little bit about who Coke Florida is, and why I share this is you'll see here in a second the diversity that is Coke Florida. But in case you don't know who we are, we're a independent, privately held bottler here in Florida. We got started back in 2015 when we acquired the first part of our territory, which is really around that central part of Florida. And we moved north to Jacksonville and down south to the Miami and the Keys. We have everything but that panhandle from a business perspective. We've got roughly 4,600 associates in and around the state of Florida. And we do everything from sell, manufacture, produce Coke products, distribute Coke products. We've got a number of salesmen and women in and around the state of Florida. Do about $1.2 billion in volume, 110 million cases of product to about 20 million consumers in across Florida. Have a community pillar framework that's at the top of that, sustainability, something near and dear to all of your hearts, including Aaron, as well as our organization. And then we have a focus on economic empowerment and education, and the sustainability piece is certainly something that I know everybody on this call is passionate about. At the bottom there, we are MB certified, and I simply call that out because it certainly allows us to do business with a lot of other businesses in and around Florida, as well as other partners in and out and throughout the United States. We know how important diversity is and diversity and representation is, and so we're proud to be an MBA company, but also recognize the value that diversity brings to the table, brings to the equation, that allows us to have better business outcomes. You click to the next slide, the last slide, the last tee up slide a little bit, but this is our leadership team. I call this out for a couple of reasons. One, you get a chance to see how diverse we are as a leadership team. There's Aaron's wonderful picture, but I would tell you that this doesn't happen by mistake. This team developed through a lot of planning, deliberate actions to make sure we selected certainly the best and brightest, but at the same time, a diverse mix of folks, both from a ethnic, gender diversity, but also a Coke system diversity, internal, external business diversity, and we like the fact that we have a very diverse organization. We're recognized for having a very diverse organization, but at the end of the day, it ultimately leads to better business results and better business outcomes. So as we think about the journey you guys are on, and I'm going to try to tie all this together, it's important that you have a very diverse board, not just in terms of ethnicity, gender, and the like, but also different perspectives that allow you guys to have the right level of innovation, creativity, and get to the right outcomes. And so I tee all this up to say that that's who we are. That's a little bit about my background and where I'm coming from as we get into this, so that you know my perspective. Am I an expert? Absolutely not. I'm just a person that has got 25 years in the HR game, if you will. Been a part of a number of diverse organizations, led a part of a number of diversity efforts for large companies, and also just a Black male who has a set of personal experiences that have all shaped his view, my view around life in general and this diversity and inclusion space. So next slide. When we first talked, both Aaron and then Savannah, we were talking a little bit about board diversity, and I asked them to say, I think board diversity is important. Board diversity, and ultimately how can you set on a path to obtain and or continue to create board diversity for your organization. So I'm going to take you through, if you let me, a little bit of a journey. My goal is not to offend. My goal is not to politicize. I'm not, you'll see some of the examples we'll talk about, and I'm not falling on one side of the fence politically, left or right. I'm just talking about some of the facts that exist and why we're at where we're at in terms of society today, how we are charting a path forward and what that looks like, and ultimately what that then means for you guys as you look to reshape and think about both diversity in the board, but also diversity throughout the organization, both in terms of the volunteer efforts, the communities in which you impact and partner with and support. So I apologize in advance if I say anything that anyone says, boy, that's controversial. I don't think I have too much in there that will shock you, but certainly want to have what I'd call real talk and real conversation. Hopefully you take away a few nuggets from our dialogue today and conversation, and things that you can use as you think about both your everyday personal and professional life, but certainly as you think about the work that you guys are doing as you work to keep Florida beautiful. Finally, our goal would be to give you some nuggets that help you improve your board diversity. There's no silver bullets in this, so we won't look for that, but we'll give you a few nuggets as we move forward. Well, let's start with the current kind of landscape across the U.S. And I think it's important, Aaron will recognize this slide. This is a slide I shared with our leadership team, our top 200 a few weeks ago. And I think it's important for all of us to kind of step back and understand the current landscape and what we're seeing throughout the U.S. and quite honestly across the globe. I would submit that in many cases there's a fair amount of change going on, transformation going on in the U.S. I would suspect many of you, with your efforts and what you're trying to do here and in your personal lives, are probably leading and part of that change that we're experiencing. But I would tell you the landscape is fundamentally changing. This is a kind of a mosaic of just some of those examples of where we're seeing change in and around the U.S. and why it's important. So when I step back and I think about some of this is the foundational components of why diversity and inclusion is important and why it ultimately leads to the right outcomes. But just think about where we're at today. We're seeing what I'd call a transformational change. It's not just a moment in time. It's actually a fundamental movement in time. And what I say is the difference between a moment and a movement, and I've heard this repeated several times from different folks, but a movement requires sacrifice, or a movement requires a fair amount of engagement, energy, and horsepower, and willing to commit to the cause. And so we're seeing this come to life in terms of sacrifice, both in terms of, unfortunately, folks sacrificing their lives for a cause, a purpose, folks that are willing to get out there in a current COVID-19 environment to peacefully, in general, protest or make their views known, people that are willing to lock arms, go shoulder to shoulder across racial, ethnic, gendered boundaries to unify for common purpose and common mission. So we're in this transformational movement that is sweeping the U.S., and I think it's going to drive sustained change. Some of this is on this page are examples of where we're seeing sustained change that we haven't seen before. So I'd call it a couple of examples. So you think about bottom left, the Land O'Lakes margarine, and this is a subtle change. Some folks didn't even know it happened. It wasn't with a lot of fanfare. There are a couple of articles here and there, but if you think about it, they originally had a picture of a female Indian graphic. They've removed that graphic. Subtle, but important, because they recognize the vision that created, some of the consternation and concerns that created. And so they were smart enough, certainly from a business standpoint, to heed where we're at in this current state and take that graphic off. For those that are football fans, a lot of conversation in the sports realm around things like Washington Redskins, and they've officially announced they're going to change their name. A lot of conversation on both sides of the aisle, back and forth, should they, shouldn't they, but they've made that call. I think it's certainly a wise business decision. I think they felt a fair amount of pressure. I don't think they did it willingly, but the mounting pressure against them really made it non-negotiable that they had to drive change. You see things like the NBA today, where majority of the players, both in the NBA, WNBA, are kneeling before games or wearing Black Lives Matter shirts and those kind of things. And so it is a fundamental movement that we're seeing across the U.S., but it's an important milestone. It's an important inflection point as we think about why we're here and what's important. You can see things like this slide in terms of LGBTQ equality. And we saw this movement probably a couple years ago. We saw some sustained change in this space, close to home in Orlando, Pulse nightclub and other things, where we saw some negative acts that turned into more sustaining efforts. And so we saw a little bit of a turning of the tide there. We're seeing some gender equality efforts that are really starting to stick and to have some sustaining efforts. And so we're seeing just fundamental change. Bottom right, you can see things like the Aunt Jemima graphic that's morphed over the course of time from what it was originally into a much more subtle and subdued modern graphic, to actually now evolving to a completely different graphic, and then not at all. So we see folks taking the steps they wouldn't have traditionally taken in situations like this. Fundamentally change. Top right, economic empowerment, wealth opportunities, etc. And in the center of this is kind of the Black Lives Matter movement, or just this notion around Black lives are important. And I'm going to anchor on that just for a moment. I've had a lot of conversation with folks around this over the last 3 or 4 months, and I'd say a couple of things. It's all of the things on this page are critically important, very important. I think it's important to all of us on this call. Certainly from a Black Lives Matter perspective, I have this kind of ongoing conversation with folks around all lives matter, and we'll kind of go through that exercise real quick. But I'd say I saw an interesting video on the YouTube the other day, and it was a parody, and it was a lady kind of talking to herself, and she was representing houses, homes, and one house was on fire, and there was another house not on fire, and she played the role of one person and then fire person, saying, "Hey, all houses, all homes matter." And the fireman said, "I got it, all homes matter, but that house over there is on fire, and I have to go put that fire out." And the person said, "Well, that's not fair, because my house is equally important." And he said, "Your house is not on fire at this moment in time. If your house was going to be on fire at some point, I will be here to take care of your fire as well. But right now, that house over there is on fire." So I kind of equate that. I found that an interesting example of why it's okay that we focus on Black lives right now, because that house is on fire. And it's important for us to spend some time correcting that particular issue, correcting some of the historic and systemic racism that existed. And it's okay. That doesn't mean we're focused on that at the exclusion of everyone else that everyone else's lives don't matter, but it's okay to spend some time focusing on where the house is on fire. I also had a conversation with someone the other day, and they were talking about, I mentioned I'm from Chicago, and so they said, hey, if Black Lives mattered, how come you guys don't talk about the shootings in Chicago? And for me, I had to step back from that conversation. This is a good friend of mine, and let's have this dialogue, because it's not that others don't care about some of the black-on-black crime that exists in the U.S., but it's important that we understand, particularly in Chicago, that we understand kind of why that came to be. And that gets into a more holistic conversation around what I'd call systemic racism, systemic oppression, and the like. And some of the manifestations that we're seeing now in terms of some of the crime and things that exist are based and rooted on a number of things. It could be economic inequality, housing, or lack of housing opportunities. It could be a lack of education, a lack of educational opportunities. It could be redlining. It could be a lack of financial resources and access to resources in general. We know right now in this COVID situation, particularly in Florida, we have a number of students that are doing school from home, for example. And we know that in some cases, there are certain students who don't have internet access. There are certain students who don't have access to the technology and the resources they need to be effective. So we're widening that educational gap. But education plays a role into it. The social net economic gap, things like voters.
Oh, but now she's back. Oh, there she is.
I'm so sorry. I'm really glad I drove all the way here from my home to have good internet at my office.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
My goodness, were you cueing me on switching to the next slide?
I was, yeah. If we could hit that next slide, that'd be terrific.
Done. I need to share my screen again, I'm guessing. One moment. Sorry, everyone.
No problem.
It's just been a real interesting time, and I have to think that it's the storms up north actually are impacting our internet connections even down here. So apologies, but I'm back, and hopefully I'll stay here.
No worries. Great. We see the slides. So we were talking a little bit about the current state environment, and I pulled this graphic off. It's on the internet. There's multiple versions of this one. Necessarily the words aren't completely aligned, but I think it gives a good descriptor of what we're talking about when we talk about this moment in time and some of the systemic issues that have existed over time. You can see this graphic tradition kind of has equality, equity. The justice piece is one that's actually started to make its way on here. This is relatively new, but if you think about kind of this notion of equality, right? And so, everybody benefits from the same level of support. And so we kind of get these, watching this ball game, this soccer match, and everybody has a box the same size, but it doesn't take into account whether you're short, tall, you can get up on top of the box, you can't get up on the top of the box, but it says, hey, everybody, I put the same opportunity out there in front of from everybody, so have at it. And what it doesn't realize, it doesn't take into account some of what we just talked about in terms of that historical perspective, some of that systemic perspective that has existed, that has put me at a disadvantage. Even if you just make everything the same now, you've not accounted for some of the things that put me at a disadvantage and that haven't allowed me to catch up yet. That equity piece is a little bit different, right? So now I'm saying, I got it. I'm going to give you a little bit more. I'm going to give you a taller box than others because I recognize some of those things have disadvantaged you over the course of time. So I'm going to give you that little help or extra boost you need. And some people refer because now everybody gets a chance to see that game. It's not the end state that we're trying to get to. It doesn't drive the final outcome. It at times can make the person that doesn't have access to that box still can see the game, but I'm looking at you and I'm a little bit upset on why you got that additional boost, whether or not that boost was fair or not, and those kind of things. But there's a general notion around equity and making sure everybody can have access and see the game. But I think we're now evolving to the right-hand side of this slide, which is really around justice. And this is where you say, I'm removing the boxes and the barrier, which is the fence altogether. I'm going to address those issues that have historically existed for a number of years, hundreds of years, and address them wholeheartedly, whether that again be, I'm going to look at economic empowerment. I'm going to look at access to housing and resources and technology, and I'm going to make sure that I start to remove those systemic barriers that allow certain groups to advance, others to not advance, but I'm going to remove those and make sure that everybody can see the game without those barriers. And I think that's where we're trying to get to. I think that's the movement we're seeing right now. That's what we're seeing in and around the U.S. I think it's important just to frame this conversation up, and what you guys are trying to do is you try to evolve to board diversity is and should be about how do you remove those barriers and obstacles to success? How do you remove those biases, which we'll talk about here in a minute, and some of those notions that may have prevented you from being all you can be in terms of this organization and bringing this organization to life? And how do we get there? So you're a microcosm of what's going on in and around the United States, but I think this graphic really kind of paints a good picture of the evolution and the roadmap that we're all on. So let's start to flip the script a little bit. Let's start talking a little about diversity and inclusion and what that means. So I ask you to flip the next slide. And so we start talking about, so we spent a few minutes talking about the foundation, the framework, where we're at from a U.S. perspective. And I'd like to move into a little bit of a conversation around diversity and inclusion and how we start to value and bring to life some of those differences that make us all uniquely different. At the same time, we'll value those differences and bring them together to execute against outcomes. And that's what you're trying to do. So in a nutshell, you can read the slide, but we talk a little bit about diversity. And diversity is the mix. It's what differentiates each and every one of us. It can be a number of things, whether it's ethnicity, gender, how we think, what we value, our backgrounds and experiences shape our perspectives. And we get our perspective from many different sources and combinations of sources. There's lots of variations to kind of the definition of diversity and how folks kind of frame it. But in general, it talks about those things that make each and every one of us kind of uniquely us, right? And it's a set of experiences that can continue to evolve over the course of time. It's not static. Now, certainly, for the most part, I'm talking generalities. We know there's some nuance and there's some change in this, but generally ethnicity, gender don't change. Certainly cognizant they can. How we think, the things we value, generally have been embedded in us over the course of time from day one, minute one until now, and we keep evolving. So when I think about things for me personally, right? So I think about things that have shaped me, and some could be good and bad that make me diverse, right? I'm a black male, can't do much about it. I am who I am in that space. My thinking has been shaped by a number of things. So for example, if we think about current state, my reaction to flashing lights from a police officer may be significantly different than others on this call's reaction to those flashing lights getting behind you. That's shaped through a number of circumstances, situations I may have had over the course of my personal life as it relates to being stopped. And what does that mean? And what's been that experience or outcome, right? Me growing up in the Chicago and western suburbs of Chicago and being one of 3 minority families in an all-white neighborhood certainly shaped my thinking in life and how I engage and how I react to situations and my perceptions and experiences that I have. Me having 4 girls, that certainly shaped my perspective and my views on life and those kind of things. Not necessarily good or bad, but I have a point of view, right? And having 4 girls and the experience that I have with those wonderful young ladies, that certainly has shaped my view on things in life. And so we each have our own set of kind of diverse sets of experiences, makeup, and those kind of things that make us uniquely us. It drives ultimately at the end of the day a fair amount of creativity, how we think about things, but each of us a little bit different in our own unique ways. Now, there are certainly others that may have similar experiences like us that we may gravitate towards or engage with, but generally each and every one of us, if you think about kind of your own unique set of experiences and how you grew up, where you grew up, who you grew up with, male, female, et cetera, you all have a diverse set of experiences, and that's terrific. We should. It's what makes us unique and what makes us here in the U.S. unique, and makes it pretty powerful. The important piece is when we bring those differences together and bring those to life. And that becomes the inclusion side, right? Inclusion is getting the mix to work together. So all those different nuances of me, 4 daughters, Black male, raised in Chicago, bringing together with someone like Aaron Black or Liz DeWitt or others around the call here, and different sets of experiences, both personally and professionally, experiences and how they grew up, where they grew up. And when we can harness the collective and bring all that together and bring that to life, now we really got something. And that becomes the challenge, right? So the inclusion piece becomes the hard and heavy lifting, because it requires work. It requires us to, in many cases, get outside of our comfort zone. It requires us to make different choices, uncomfortable choices at times, hearing different points of view, hearing pushback. And so the inclusion piece is really where the diversity piece comes together. So I hear people say, boy, I don't see color. I say, everybody just say, well, no, that's not accurate. That's not what you want to say. I want you to see some of the differences. I want you to recognize some of the nuances of who I am, who you are, who the person to the left and right of you are, so we can bring that to the table, so we can have the right kinds of discussions, so we can truly get to the right outcomes, because no one of us has the right solution. If we were monolithic or we had a bunch of people around us that thought the same, we'd get a certain amount of outcomes. We might even have a little bit of success. But it's when you bring all of these groups together in our various backgrounds and set of experiences together that truly brings it to life. Simply put, clicking on the next slide. The reality is diversity, it's a fact, right? It's things that I can't change, right? So I think about some of what makes me up. I don't like onions. I can't change that, can't stand them, don't like them. I'm a Black male, can't change that. It is what it is. I have a college degree, fortunate enough to have it, but I have a college degree at this point. Can't change it, that's a fact. No, what I took away from college, what I learned, what I kept, what I retained, very different, but I went to college and got a college degree. I'm married, so can't change that, don't want to change it. My wife would hate it if I change it, so I'm not gonna try to do that. So those are the diversity pieces that are a fact. The inclusion piece is really a choice that I talked about. I have a choice on whether or not I want to value others' points of view and opinions. I have a choice on whether or not I want people around me that all look and act like me, have a similar set of experiences, or I want to engage a different set of folks that bring some different thoughts to the table, different sets of experiences, and broaden the set of experiences that I currently have today. And that's really when you start talking about some of this board diversity and the collective mix that you guys partner with and the partners that you partner with. It's whether or not you make that conscious choice that we're going to bring to life, bring to the table some of those diverse opinions, diverse perspectives, and others that we may or may not have been in contact with up until this point. So let's talk about a little bit more. So we talk about diversity and inclusion, but there's some pitfalls out there, right? So let's click on this next slide before we get to go for it. So before we get there, so diversity and inclusion. So we talk about, at the end of the day, it's positive outcomes. Now these are based on some business results, so it's a little bit different, potentially in a profit or nonprofit environment. But at the end of the day, we know that it drives the right outcomes. So typically, when you see diverse organizations and diverse thinking around the table, you typically get to a point where you see 66% more innovation. So I would say, if I'm the team here on this call, I would be interested in saying, man, if we can get some more innovation in terms of how we can, one, keep Florida beautiful, who we can engage with to keep Florida beautiful, who are the folks that we may not be able to tap into today, partner with today, whether it be businesses or individuals, to drive more holistic solutions in and around Florida and in and around Tampa Bay. Would we like that as an answer? I'm sure you say yes, and that comes from having a diverse organization. Bottom left, 2 times more engagement, again, from a business perspective. I love to drive engagement in and around our organization, so having a diverse organization allows us to have the right kind of engagement from our associates across the board. That ultimately gets us to the right outcomes because they feel more compelled to participate, partner, share their ideas, share their thinking. And so having a diverse organization is critically important in that regard as well. Top right, just general business, you're more likely to capture market share, market growth, just have business outcomes if you have a diverse organization. So that kind of goes without question. And then, in general, a lot of Fortune 500 companies, and a lot of this data can be found in Fortune, in some other areas, magazines and other surveys. But at the end of the day, companies with diverse leadership experience have higher innovation, market share, higher ROI, employee engagement, those kind of things we talked about. So it makes sense to just as we think about diversity and specifically inclusion. And you keep hearing me say diversity and inclusion. I don't think you can separate them out. And historically, it used to be diversity. Inclusion was not part of the conversation, and it was really a missing component in the early days. And 15 years ago, we were talking specifically around diversity. And the inclusion piece was kind of the secret sauce to saying, no, instead of ignoring and or trying to act like we're not diverse, let's act like we're diverse. We are diverse, but how do we then bring those things together? So just a good example of how diversity truly drives the right outcomes and drives business growth. So now we can click that next slide. So one of the pitfalls and opportunities that we have to be careful of, and Aaron is aware of this. This is a passion point for me. We took our top 200 through an exercise a couple of weeks back on unconscious bias. Many of you may have been a part of a session like that. But as we think about D&I, there's just some inherent potential pitfalls that we've got to be cognizant of, have to be aware of that can exist, that we either consciously, subconsciously, or intentionally may put artificial barriers up in front of our diversity and inclusion efforts. And it's really around this bias component. And when we think about bias, it's judgment made up in favor of or against a person, thing, or group. And so in many cases, we have preconceived notions. So we talked about that diversity experience, and my set of experiences, your set of experiences, but each of us have a set of notions and ideas about folks, situations and outcomes that we've either gained through experience over time, heard about them through others, been taught by parents or others through our lifetimes. And so those shape an immediate reaction to certain situations, immediate reaction to certain people, immediate reaction to different things that in many cases we are intentional about. So if I was raised in a certain environment to think about people in a certain way or certain people in a certain way, when I see that person or that group of people, I have an immediate reaction, whether it be in the workplace, whether it be on a board I may be sitting on, and or a set of experiences or my personal life. So it's important that we recognize that those exist. We all have biases. There's not one person, I don't believe, unless you're just a unique unicorn on the phone that someone that doesn't have a bias. We all have them. Some subtle, some more overt, but we all have biases. And then the other piece is this an unconscious bias. These are the unintended biases, the unintended consequences, the things that we don't always think about, but they exist, and they may exist in all of us. But it's how we react or navigate through those unconscious biases that are important, because you think about your board diversity, what you're trying to get done there. Some of these unconscious biases may come into play in terms of who you have on your boards, who is around your leadership table, and what do they look like, and what set of experience do they have. And it could be either through a set of intentional biases, or it could be through some unconscious biases. Let's I'll take you through an example. We can stay on this page, but let me give you this example. So you got a beach cleanup, which I know is near to dear to your heart. So we got a beach cleanup coming up. We're ready to have the activity, the event, the beach cleanup, and we've got a number of folks that are just showing up to participate. And I'm not going to ask you to share, to give me your reaction, but I want you to have an internal conversation, dialogue. When I mentioned the bullet point about each of these people, quickly something will come to mind. So your first person that came is an 80-year-old man. He's here for the beach cleanup. Followed by a 10-year-old girl. She's ready to go on the beach cleanup. Next was a female in a wheelchair. She's ready. She's here for the beach cleanup. Next is a homeless man. He just kind of saw what was going on and came over. He's ready for the beach cleanup. There's a black male who clearly came from a poor part of town. He's just showing up. He's interested in being in the beach cleanup. And then there's a male that showed up, and he's got one arm, and he's here to help. So I'm going to pause there. I'm not going to ask you to share with me what you thought, but as you think about each of those, I would submit that you're very unique. There's certainly a thought that came into your head. Certainly you tried to force yourself not to categorize or think about those folks, but quickly you kind of visualized, I would assume, each of those players and what they look like in your mind, and that you come from a set of experiences that you've had over time, and then you probably made an assessment of what are they going to be able to do, not going to be able to do, how are they going to be able to do some of the work, and or we'll have to do something different with that person. So for example, if the female in the wheelchair, you would probably have made an assessment of, not necessarily that she can or can't do the work, but boy, I already have to think differently about how she can help us. Might be one example. So again, won't ask each of you to kind of divulge what you thought about as you work through that exercise, but I would submit that each of you had a different set of experiences, thoughts around each of those players and the role that they could play, and or as they can contribute to the beach cleanup. Those thoughts and differences are in many cases some of the unconscious biases that exist. As we took our team through the similar exercise, right, and we talked about, for example, the 80-year-old man. When not speaking to a beach cleanup, folks had a perspective around what he could and couldn't do, what his capabilities may or may not have been, his stamina, it's hot today. It's all those things can kind of play out in the course of an initial assessment, and it's incumbent upon us to be able to break through that, recognize when we're having those moments of unconscious bias, or in some cases conscious bias, where we've made a decision around someone based on a set of experiences, et cetera. But it's important as you think about the board, your board diversity, and some of these things that may pop in your mind in terms of who you put on the board, who you select to be part of this board, who you select to be a part of your organization, where you go to engage in finding new participants, members, volunteers, and do you go to certain places, stay away from other places, and if so, why, and those kinds of things. And so this unconscious bias piece is one that's really important, that you call it out, you think about it as you create your board, and you look around your room and your table to say, are we truly experiencing and leveraging diversity? Are we truly making sure that we don't have unconscious bias around who can and can't do this work, where they come from, what their backgrounds are, what their set of experiences are? Let's click that next slide. Just double clicking down on the unconscious bias. There's a couple different ways this manifests itself beyond just the bias unconscious. So there's an affinity bias. So you think about, we tend to warm up to people ourselves. It's somewhat human nature, right? So if I see another person that has a similar set of experiences, or in many cases look like me, acts like me, I have just a natural tendency to be more comfortable with that person. Not right or wrong, it just is, right? So you think about your board makeup. Are there folks that certainly have a passion point around keeping Florida beautiful? So that's okay. That's great. You want folks that are passionate about the cause, but at the same time, we tend to warm to people that look like ourselves. The halo effect, the tendency to think everything about that person is good because you like that person. So again, they can do no wrong. You give them the benefit of the doubt. That can come from a number of different sources, a number of different reasons, a number of different places. But again, we got to be cognizant of that halo effect. Perception bias, a tendency to form stereotypes and assumptions. This is typically one of the more negative biases. We have a perception of someone, about someone, based on a set of circumstances, training, education, being taught certain things. It's important that we think about this particular one and the perceptions that may exist as we engage folks. Confirmation bias, a tendency for people to seek information that confirms pre-existing beliefs. So I already know the answer. I'm looking for people around me that can say, yep, you're right, David. Keep doing that. It gives me a feeling of self-satisfaction. It gives me I want more people around that. It makes me feel good. So got to be careful that you don't surround yourself with people that will confirm what you already know. And the groupthink, both in terms of the group, a lot of folks around the table that look and act and think like us. So we got some groupthink, as well as those folks that we put on the table that may be diverse, that ultimately don't change or challenge because, boy, everybody around this table thinks the same. I'm not going to be the one to step out on that limb and think differently. So we got to challenge our thinking relative to the bias, unconscious bias, to make sure that as you select the right talent, you select the right people around your leadership table, you're thinking more broadly and holistically, not letting some of this creep into place. Let's hit that next slide. Quick quote: not everyone thinks the way you think, knows the things you know, believes the things you believe, nor acts the way you would act. Remember this, and you will go a long way in getting along with people. So at the end of the day, we're not the same. No two of us are the same. We all have a different set of experiences. And so as you think about driving to the end state of board diversity and organizational diversity, nobody's the same. You want to surround yourself with people, and then the second you got to realize that nobody's the same, the second you start to move things forward. Next slide. Bottom line impact, very similar to what we talked about before. At the end of the day, diversity drives the right outcomes. Diverse companies have gender diversity 15% more successful. ethnic diversity, 35% more successful. So at the end of the day, it's important to make sure that your organization has the right level of diversity so that you can get to the right outcomes in what you're trying to achieve as an organization. I'm speeding up a little bit. Next slide. So let's bring it home. So let's talk a little bit about board diversity as a reality. So what's it going to take to make you guys successful from a board perspective? You know, certainly as we navigate through this global pandemic and the changing economic environment, the protests and things we talked about, I think people are starting to realize, if not before, how important diversity is to their organizations, their structures, to their teams. And so the conversation you're having is not unique, but it's the right conversation. Again, I applaud you for having the conversation at this moment in time. The challenge is that many don't fully understand what it's going to take to get to that point. It's a required amount of effort. It just doesn't happen by accident. As I mentioned, our leadership team didn't happen by accident. We had to be very thoughtful in terms of how we stood that organization up and how we thought about it. And so you have to be intentional. It's not enough just to want to make it a reality. You have to make it a priority. This board has to make it a priority. You have to put goals in place. You have to get, to get to the desired outcome. It just won't happen by happenstance. So let's talk a little bit about what some of the things next slide, that you can do to get there. And I'm going to start with the bottom in mind, because there is no one size fits all. There's no silver bullet. It's a bunch of hard work that requires you to get you to the desired outcome. But some things you might want to think about. So you got to create an environment and a board culture that welcomes fresh ideas and perspectives. So you have to be open to fresh perspectives, new thinking. Again, you get a passion point around what you do and how you do it. Find other folks that have equal passion, but maybe they have passion in a different way. They may have a different angle on how to do some of what you do. So, but you got to create an environment where if I come there and be a part of what you guys have going on, you're open. The culture is inviting. It's not an environment of conformity. It's an environment that's open to listen to new ideas. Be deliberate in your search for diverse board members. So you've got to be deliberate. You can't just let it happen. You have to go to where diversity exists, whether that be in other communities, partner with other organizations, but you have to be deliberate in your approach to finding diverse talent. Be open to the debate and robust dialogue that differing points of view will bring. So you've got to welcome the conversation. Now, we always got to have the conversation in the right way, right? We don't want to be antagonistic. We don't want to be spiteful, but we want to have the right, robust conversation. And if you're an organization that doesn't welcome that, then it's highly probable you won't be diverse or as diverse as you want. Look for demographic diversity. I call Florida diverse, both in terms of ethnic diversity, et cetera, but Jacksonville, very different than Tampa, very different than Miami, very different than Orlando. So there's these unique circumstances and situations that exist in each of those pockets and everywhere in between. That as you tap into that diversity and look for that diversity, you should find those pockets of folks that have that diverse opinion, diverse point of view. You're gonna have to get outside your normal networks, recruit from new talent pools. So many of you probably run in similar circles, senior leaders, executives, accomplished individuals. So you may have to say, where can I go that I wouldn't normally go to help find diverse talent? You have to meet people where they're at, whether that be partnering with other boards, other organizations. You may have to take your message out to the people in non-traditional areas that you would venture into to deliver the message on why you feel your organization is important and they should be a part of the organization. So you're going to have to find those places where you probably don't traditionally go to engage in finding diverse talent. You may have to expand your board size. I'm not sure if everybody on the screen is part of the board, but it looks like a bunch of folks. So if you need to expand the board to open up a few slots, or if you have a natural kind of turnover and attrition of board members, then you have natural spots to add diversity to the mix. But if some boards that don't have as much turnover have to force the issue and open up a few additional spots to make sure they can get there. Ensure that unconscious bias isn't limiting you and your thinking and selection process. So we talked a little bit about that. We talked a little bit about partnering with diverse organizations to build new networks, and then engage diverse talent at the grassroots level. So, they may not be board members today, but they may be participants. They may be folks on helping out in some of your initiatives. How do you groom and develop and grow some of that diverse talent, which is a lot easier than in many cases bringing someone in directly at the board level. So home grow some talent might be an accelerated way to get you to the diverse outcomes you seek. So with that, I think the next slide goes to a little bit of Q&A. So one, thank you for letting me spend a little bit of time with you, kind of walking through this D&I journey for me and where we're headed, and hopefully you've picked up a few nuggets that if nothing more, put in your toolbox, both from a board perspective, but also from a personal and professional perspective. It's always a pleasure to spend time with folks and talking about the topic that we just discussed. Apologize for the technology gaps in the beginning, so hopefully we've gotten over that. But with that, I don't know if we have a minute or two for Q&A, or if I'll turn it back over to you, Gabrielle.
Thank you. We do have a couple of questions, and thank you. That was
Sure.
very informative, and really appreciated your insights into diversity and inclusion. And this is something near and dear to my heart as well. You gave a scenario of different people showing up for your beach cleanup, and I think that sparked a couple of questions. So I did want to share one of those questions with you. A. Hemstreet said, how can we plan ahead in the future to help them be most productive in their participation, to feel and experience the strong sense of belonging that we want for all participants? And
yeah, it's a
task selection.
Terrific. No, that's a terrific question, right? So I think part of it starts with, to your point, how do you plan for some of the unexpected, right? How do you plan to make sure that you have a setup that anticipates all the possible, you never be able to do all the possible scenarios, but you anticipate maybe somebody shows up in a wheelchair, maybe somebody shows up that doesn't have all the tools to be able to do the work with this one arm, et cetera. But how do you make sure that, one, you're inviting, it's welcoming, the team members understand that we welcome the diversity of participants, but then you engage with those folks and get a sense for what they want to do and how they want to do it. But in many cases, and talking from personal experience, talking from even companies, organizations, people I work with, they had a preconceived notion, man, this person can't possibly do. Well, no, that's not for me to say. That's really up to the individual to be able to say, here's how I can contribute to the effort, and then you figure out how to work with them. But it's preparing for those moments. Some of that comes through, again, engaging in those communities, engaging in those partnerships, engaging outside of your natural sphere, so that you there's a higher level of comfort with different folks from different walks of life. And it's actually just beginning the conversation, have the dialogue. So as you prepare for events, let's have those conversations about the what ifs and how do we prepare and how do we make sure we're a welcoming organization that's very inclusive.
Thank you very much. And we did have a couple of other comments, but Putnam Beautiful said that the young person needed an adult, which yes, but
I hope so, yes.
We also had several people saying, great presentation, thank you very much. And so thank you. Let's all give David a round of applause. And thank you for sticking with us through the technology. And I've always had a saying, technology happens. I was a computer science professor at the U.S. Military Academy, and all the preparation in the world doesn't mean that you are going to have a flawless event, unfortunately. We did have we had a pre-session meeting, we ran through everything, but you just never know when a glitch is going to happen. So thank you for rolling with it. And Kevin with Visit Florida said, thank you, David, took pictures and notes. Tammy with Keep Wakulla County Beautiful, thank you, David. Kina said, great presentation. And so thank you again very much.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate that. Certainly the technology is a gap, but it makes it easier when you got forgiving folks on the other end of the line. So I appreciate your understanding and support. So thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your meeting, and if I can ever spend time with you again, just let me know.
We would love that very much. Linda with Keep Nassau Beautiful said, learned a lot, thank you. On that note, it is 3:01. Let's take a 10-minute break so everyone can go to the restroom, replenish their internet connections, whatever. So actually it's 2 minutes after. Let's come back at 12 after the hour. 12 after the hour. I'm going to pause the recording at this point. Feel free to chat amongst yourselves if you don't need a break. I know I need a break. And then just go ahead, and if you are going to take a break, turn your camera off and your audio off, and come back at 12 minutes after the hour. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. It is 3:12. So we said we would be back. We're back. We want to get back on track here. And actually, we're good on time because we had a later session that was moved earlier. So we are perfectly good on time. At this point, what I'd like to do is welcome Kina Corey to tell us a little bit about this picture before you give us your updates. And it's adorable. I understand you keep your ears nearby in your office. Is that right?
I do. So all of you that are Facebook friends with me, and I know a lot of you are, you know about Dayton the intern. Dayton this was the picture taken last year. She's 3 years old and she's now the senior intern in our office. So she makes every day a little bit fun, but we have a special motto at Public Affairs Consultants, and it is, have a little fun every day, except on busy days, and then you have a lot of fun. So this is one of those days it was really busy, but we had a lot of fun too. And I really miss seeing everybody in person. And okay, yeah, Mary Jean, I'm missing having that glass of wine with you at the bar for happy hour before we go to the receptions. But we've had such great times with doing the different meetings in different locations. And I loved last year's Hyatt Regency at the Coconut Point. That was a lot of fun. But like Kristen said in her opening comments, we're not going to let this COVID get us down. So let's talk about a little bit about legislature and what happened in the 2020 legislative session. I'm going to give you a little bit of elections updates and what to expect in 2021. So first of all, everybody clap your hands. Congratulations on your appropriations. I can't tell you how I've sweated and I've had a few gray hairs. Thank heavens I have a great guy that got rid of them from trying to get this appropriations done. I've always told you session lasts for 60 consecutive days, and they ended on time, but they had to extend just to do the budget. And believe it or not, the only thing that they're supposed to do by the Constitution is pass a balanced budget. So it took them a little extra time, but a lot of it had to do with COVID-19. Now, this was an early session this year. So it was in that January, February, that first week and so of March. And we could tell that the tide was changing with the COVID-19 issue. We actually had several members that got yanked out of the House chambers and put in isolation because they were around somebody over the weekend, the previous weekend, that had it, that tested positive. They totally shut down everything in the House. They went inside, cleaned all the chairs, everything in it, and before they'd bring them back. We knew it was getting serious, but we weren't really sure how serious. So the legislature really were very wise. What they did is they passed the budget, was for $93.2 billion. That's with a B. And they held it. And why they held it is because they wanted to wait to see what the general revenues were coming in for the state. What was that revenue picture going to look like? So they held it until June, giving the governor a lot of time to see what was going on, what the needs of the state were, and also trying to figure out what things were going to get vetoed. Now, the governor can only line item veto power. So in other words, he couldn't just veto the whole Department of Transportation budget. Well, yes, he could, but he probably wouldn't do something like that. But their legislators had a lot of, I don't want to call them pet projects, but projects that were probably for their districts, such as water projects, road projects, buildings. And then there's other ones like Keep Florida Beautiful. So he went through that budget, he and his staff, and decided that they could knock off about $1 billion through vetoes, and he did that. Good news is, even though we were on that tax watch turkey list, we made it through and he signed it and we were good. I get a lot of questions about that tax watch turkey list. Why do we keep getting put on that? It's because they consider it a turkey if it wasn't heard in both the House and the Senate. So the House side, Tracy Davis does a great job, gets it up in the committee, they approved it in the committee, and it's available to be heard in the budget. On the Senate side, they don't really care about what Tax Watch thinks. If they think it's a good project, they're not going to take the extra time to go through a committee process. And we had our budget item was sponsored this year by Senator Wilton Simpson, was the incoming Senate president. So, you know, everybody was like, hey, he likes it. It's been a successful program. Why do we have to talk about it in a committee? But that triggers Tax Watch. So even though Tax Watch put us on our turkey list, we were good again. So thank you. Speaking of thank yous, we have a lot of people to thank. Senate President Bill Galvano, he has sponsored your appropriations funding, I think, almost every year that he's been in the Senate. He is just a strong supporter of yours, and that's a lot thanks to Steve Lesman and the late Chuck Dees. Senator Wilton Simpson, like I said, he's a president designate, and he was actually the person that put in your funding this year. I think he did it last year too, because really a Senate president doesn't want his name on any kind of appropriations funding. It's a great way for the House to hold him hostage if they know these are funding items that he really wants. Representative Tracy Davis is a superstar out of Jacksonville. She's filed that for the last couple of years and has been tenacious and was able to get it in there. And I can't thank enough of you, the affiliates, for contacting your legislators. When it came to going, sending letters to the governor, taking care of that, and definitely the board members. But let me also just thank some board members that aren't on this call with us anymore because they're no longer members or rotating off, like Tony Sassa, Larry Weber, Chuck Dees, who departed this earth way too early, Kim Brunson, Steve Lesman, thank you for still being here, and Ralph Popple. That was a team that went and walked the halls of the Capitol in the very beginning to get that original funding back in, and it's because of the great efforts that the foundation that they laid. That's why you're so successful. But what's next? Well, it's called election time. And then you have primary elections coming up, and that's in August 18th. Now, what I really wanted to concentrate today is how to vote, and there's a couple of different ways. So our next slide shows us about how to vote by mail. It used to be called absentee ballots, but no longer. It doesn't matter. If you just don't want to go to the polls and vote, all you have to do is go on to your local supervisor of elections website and type in your address, and it'll pull up, if you're a registered voter, do you want to vote by mail ballot to be mailed to you? If you want to request that, you have until 5 p.m. on August the 8th. After that point in time, if you want to vote by mail ballot, you have to go into the supervisor of elections office to pick it up. Now, you can send that in, but you can't, the supervisor of elections office needs to have that ballot back by 7 p.m. on election day. They're suggesting that you send it by August the 11th to be safe. And sometimes people talk about, well, my signature is a little bit different than what it was. If your signature is different or mismatched on your vote by mail ballot, there is a way that it can be rectified. The supervisor of election has to notify you and say, hey, we're a little suspicious of your signature. Did you vote? And if you say yes, then you have at least 2 days after the election to come in to fill out a form and show them your ID to show them that, yes, you really were the person that said in that vote by mail ballot. Now, you also, the next slide showing you that in-person voting happens. We've got early voting, and that's actually started in some spots in our state. We have early voting, I think, that happened in Miami-Dade County. I think it happened up here in Baker or Bradford County. There's a lot of different, whether it's a small or large, they can change and have their early voting anytime in August that they want. Counties must hold their early voting from August the 8th to the 15th, but like I said, they can do it a little bit earlier. And then naturally, primary election day is Tuesday, August the 18th. So let's talk about a couple of people that you're going to be voting for. Now, there's other local elections going on that you'll see on your ballot, but I'm concentrating on the people that are giving you funding. So let's talk about the Florida Senate and the Florida House. There's 40 members of the Florida Senate, and there's 21 of those seats up for election. And something very different happened this election cycle. No incumbent or candidate was elected or reelected without opposition. Normally, we have some of those that get that, and you can see my fingers going past, and they're not opposed. And so they're elected without any opposition. That didn't happen this time. There's one open primary in that Senate District 33, which is Senator Perry Thurston. You have 5 Democratic primaries, 4 Republican primaries, and 10 general elections, only races. Now, Senate District 20, which is actually held right now by Senator Tom Lee, is now put into this election cycle, but it's considered a special election. He has resigned from the Senate, and the governor could have picked any dates that he wanted to have this special election held. Being a good steward of money, he's decided that it should be the same time since this primary and the general election take place. That way there's no extra funding needed from the supervisor of elections to hold a separate election. So that was the good news. Now the House, it's a little bit bigger. It's 120 seats, and they're all up for election. There's for two-year terms. They did have some situations where people got that pass. There were 12 of them that were elected without opposition. There are 11 incumbents that made it, and 1 brand new candidate who not run before made it. That 1 Republican that was reelected without opposition is Brad Drake, and 1 new Democrat that I'm really looking forward to working with him, Tavares McCurdy, great guy. And you have 10 Democrats that are automatically reelected, and that's Ramon Alexander, Camilla, and Camilla is going to be a mother, I think, pretty soon. Diane Hart, Ventress Driscoll, Dan Daly, who was elected in a special election, so he's only served maybe 1 year. Mike Gottlieb, Evan Jenny, who's going to be the incoming Democratic leader, Joe Geller, James Bush, and Michael Greco. There's 52 races that'll be general elections only, 22 Democratic primaries, then on to the general, and 29 Republican primaries, and then they are off to the generals. So you're going, oh, Keena, you always talk about elections, no matter what you do, and if it's a board meeting or if it's one of our meetings, but why is it important to KFB? Number one thing, President Bill Galvano will not be in the legislature for the 2021 session. Remember, I told you he has carried your water. He has he's made sure in your appropriation every year that I think he's been in the Senate. Senator Wilton Simpson needs 21 Republicans to be the Senate president. Because there's some open seats and there's some changes in politics in a couple of these different districts, it's going to be close. I think the Democrats are going to pick up 2. They still need to pick up more than that, but 21 Republicans to keep him in leadership so that hopefully he'll continue to watch our Keep Florida Beautiful funding. Representative Tracy Davis is being challenged by a very good candidate. Her name is Representative Cynthia Smith, but Tracy is a tenacious campaigner, and I really think that she's going to be able to pull it off, but what happens if she's bumped off? And then you really need to think and recruit about the KFB champions in the legislature for your funding. In other words, somebody that's going to go to the wall for you and say, yes, this is important to me. This is important to my district, that funding stays intact so that different events and different things can happen in his or her area. So what can you do? It's very easy. Number one, vote. Make sure that you're a registered voter and that you vote. Get to know the candidates in your district. If you like someone, help them. It can be as simple as putting a yard sign in your yard supporting this candidate. Now, I travel quite a bit, even still with all this in my car, and I had to go over to the Baker counties to imagine going from Tallahassee to Baker County, Bradford County, a little bit of Clay, going all the way down, getting back on the turnpike. I saw a lot of yard signs. Now, yard signs in a person's yard means that person's going to vote. If you see a yard sign on a street corner where there's no one owns that property per se, it's not an individual, it's just there for advertisement. So I count yard signs in people's yards. So that gives me an indication if that person's pretty popular in that district. You can also wave signs for a candidate on the street corners. You contact that candidate's campaign office and they love it. But usually the weekend or 2 weekends before the election, they'll assign you a street corner to stand on, and you have the candidate sign and you just stand there and wave to people, and that's encouraging them to vote for that candidate. Volunteer could be very easy. You just contact their campaign office, and it can be, I like going in and just sitting down for a couple of hours at the computer and putting in information about the district, who's voting, who needs yard signs, who whatever. I run errands for them. I'll go pick up, water, anything of that nature, any kind of volunteering that you can do. And then ask those candidates to participate in Zoom style events for your volunteers and your board members. That's really easy. So look at your district, and if there's 1 or 2 members, ask them just to participate, and just very, very basic. Let them tell you who they are, what they stand for. If your members if your volunteers have any questions, ask them that. It takes 10, 15 minutes, boop, pop, and you've got an opportunity to meet them. And then you have an opportunity for you to tell them why they should, think about Keep Florida Beautiful when they're in the legislature, why it's important to the state of Florida. So it's a two-way street on that. You learn about them and they have the opportunity to learn about you. So there's some great reasons why you're very successful in receiving this funding. That connection between that KFB affiliate and the legislator. And I really should have put in there KFB affiliate and board members and legislators, because that connection, those board members go to the wall for you guys. They are making phone calls. They are calling those legislators. They're sending them email. They're calling the governor. They're sending letters to the governor saying, please keep your funding intact. That continued education, letting that legislator know about the impact that you have on your district, is just priceless. Telling them what you're doing and why it's important that you're doing it. And yet continuous education process needs to be made. Make sure that they're on your email, your newsletter list. Let them know about any kind of events that you have by asking legislators to participate in events. It can be anything from when we get back to normal and could have races and things of that nature, maybe having them start the race, or maybe there's a pledge of allegiance that you need to have that you like to do before one of your meetings. Having them just come and say a few words. All of that's very important. Again, you're learning about the legislator and they're learning about you. So I did still have my Mickey ears. or many ears, I'm sorry. And Mary Jean might remember these when I did a presentation for Keep America Beautiful when we were at Disney one time. And I had a ball doing it. But I just want you to remember one thing. I want you to have a little fun every day, except on those busy days, and then make sure that you have a lot of fun on those busy days. Feel free to call me, contact me if you have any questions about any candidates, if you need help with connecting with somebody. I am more than happy to do that for you. And thank you so much for your time and your attention today. Take care.
Thank you. That was really informative and enthusiastic. I liked it very much. So thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Like getting lots of thank yous on the chat box. I don't see any questions, but they do have your contact information. So thank you very much, Kina. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So at this time, we are going to go to probably one of the most exciting parts of the presentation today. It's the Keep Florida Beautiful Awards. So any award recipients who are currently on the line, you should have received a package by mail. So if you received a package by mail, it would have come from the artist. And so if you received a package, now is the time to open that package if you haven't already done so. The awards were created by an artist based in Gainesville, Florida, named Sam Weeman. And she's an animal lover and artist who combines her two passions in custom animal artwork. And so she specializes in a lot of different things related to animals. And she paints on canvas, repurposed materials, and natural materials. And then she donates a portion of her proceeds to help animals in need. And you all know how I feel about animals. I think I love her already. So again, make sure you open your awards now so that we don't have any delays. Also, each of you who received an award will have about 30 seconds to say thank you or hold up your award if you don't want to say anything. But we would like to see you if possible, and we'd like to hear from you if at all possible. So we have over 60 people on the line right now, so I'm really excited about this. So our first award is Outstanding Business, Tico Energy. The Florida affiliates benefit greatly from the assistance of their private sector partners. This award honors the efforts of a business or industry group that has demonstrated its commitment and dedication by providing a positive impact in a community or statewide. This year's winner of the Outstanding Business Award has partnered with their local affiliate for the last 25 years in many different capacities, including volunteering, financial assistance, and participation on the affiliate's board of trustees. And when we say volunteer, we don't just mean show up on the day of the event. Employees of this company help pack supplies ahead of time, and they also serve as site captains on the day of different events. Tico Energy is a leader in the Tampa Bay community that focuses on environmental stewardship through innovative public-private partnerships. Projects such as the Manatee Viewing Center, which, oh my gosh, I love it, and the Suncoast Youth Conservation Center, beautiful, have demonstrated the company's commitment to environmental education. But it's the dedication to keep Tampa Bay beautiful that deserves special mention. Over the years, Tico Energy has donated substantial amounts of money and helped the community by removing 120,000 pounds of invasive plants and cleaning up 25,000 pounds of litter and debris. So please join me in congratulating Tico Energy as this year's Outstanding Business Award winner. And if Tico Energy is here with us, if we have a representative, we'd love to hear from you.
Yes, I am on the line. This is Stanley Crow with Tampa Electric Company, and I'm holding up the award here. I don't know if you can see the whole thing, but it's an alligator, and the little plaque says Outstanding Business Industry Group 2020 Tico Energy. So on behalf of Tico Energy, I want to thank you. Also just wanted to point out that Tico Energy is a holding company, and it's really comprised of Tampa Electric Company, which has a presence in the Tampa Bay area, but also Peoples Gas, which has a presence throughout the entire state of Florida. So while we've partnered through Tampa Electric with Keep Tampa Bay Beautiful for many, many years, and hope to be expanding that reach throughout the state. So again, thank you. I'm not sure if there's anyone else from Tico Energy on the line right now, but if so, if you could please introduce yourself quickly, that would be wonderful.
Not sure what happened. I see freezing. Can anyone hear me? Oh dear, we have another internet problem.
Get on the line, Tracy. Anyone else? No. Well, again, on behalf of Tampa Electric Company and Peoples Gas, we're thrilled to receive this award. So thank you very much for the recognition.
Congratulations, Dan.
Thank you very
Debbie.
much.
Bye, Pat.
And yeah, if you noticed, I disappeared again. So I'm going to leave my video off. I'm going to leave my video off because apparently I'm having internet problems at the office again. So thank you so much to Tico Energy for all of your hard work. Our next award is Outstanding Great American Cleanup Trash Off, and that award goes to Keep Nassau Beautiful. This award honors the affiliate that conducted a meaningful and productive Great American Cleanup Drive at Home, Keep Our Paradise Litter-Free event. This year did pose a unique challenge as the nation found itself dealing with a worldwide public health emergency related to COVID-19. Some affiliates were able to hold their events early in the year, but most unfortunately had to resort to creative ways to hold virtual events or programs. For 2020, this award honors the affiliate that conducted a meaningful, creative, or unique Great American Cleanup Drive at Home, Keep Our Paradise Litter-Free event, whether it was live, virtual, or media-based. This year's award winner demonstrates the kind of creativity needed when suddenly everyone around the state is under stay-at-home orders and traditional cleanups are put on hold. Recognizing a good opportunity to look ahead at a community improvement project that also provided an excellent opportunity for education, Keep Nassau Beautiful launched their Planting Nassau's Future and Adopt a Tree program. Over the course of 3 months, 348 native trees were adopted out and 4 workshops were held to educate the recipients of those trees about the science and the landscape design aspects of trees and our suburban forests. Keep Nassau board member Kelly McCarter helped spearhead the effort using her experience as an SAF certified forester and helped forge a partnership with the UF IFAS Extension Office and the local Master Gardener program. The success of this program, which focused on education and community improvement, is what earned Keep Nassau Beautiful the Outstanding Great American Cleanup Award. So congratulations to Keep Nassau Beautiful. And do we have somebody from Keep Nassau Beautiful with us to accept the award?
Yes, I'm Linda Bell, and I'm accepting the award on behalf of Keep Nassau Beautiful. Thank you so much. Our board member, Kelly McCarter, was really critical in planning this program for us, and it fell right within all the COVID social distancing. And within a 1 week's period, she and I were able to transition that into an online program for our very last educational workshop. And we feel so pleased and privileged to be able to have worked with our local extension office as well and present this program, getting trees planted. It's something now that we're going to sustain year after year. So thank you very much for recognizing us.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so that is Outstanding GAC Trash Off Award. And again, congratulations to Keep Nassau Beautiful. Our next award is Outstanding Education Involvement. And that award goes to Keep Charlotte Beautiful. This award honors the affiliate that has engaged in the education network, either through involvement in schools, virtual assistance during the state-issued stay-at-home work period, or who have worked with individual youth. This year's winner was able to get into the schools and have quality time to work with students in kindergarten through 5th grade. By appealing to STEM lab teachers in the area schools and making the case that these are real-world issues, this affiliate gained permission to conduct learning sessions for K-2 and grades 3 to 5 classes. The 2 curricula included the Wartsville Wizard, borrowed from Keep Orlando Beautiful, and the Partners in the Pile class from Keep America Beautiful's Waste in Place curriculum. Keep Charlotte Beautiful sings the praises of their intern, Kayla Markey, for her work with this project. We all know that it takes a team to really succeed. Pre-COVID, Keep Charlotte Beautiful presented to 4 schools in 90 classes, resulting in 1,642 students educated. Once stay-at-home orders kicked in, Keep Charlotte Beautiful went virtual and was able to continue working with additional schools. Please join me in congratulating Keep Charlotte Beautiful as the winner of this year's Outstanding Education Involvement Award. Congratulations. Do we have someone from Keep Charlotte Beautiful?
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Hey guys, thank you very much. I don't know if you can see this or not. It is a really cool turtle. This actually just arrived like 3 minutes ago.
Hold it up again next to you.
What's that?
Hold it up again next to you, please.
Okay. Can you see it?
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. We were very fortunate to have the intern that we had this year. She really was amazingly flexible in what we did. She was just spot on with everything this year. So thank you again for this award.
Congratulations very much, and so happy for you. Let's move on to our next winner. That is an Outstanding Youth Champion. And if those of you who aren't speaking right now, go ahead and mute your mics. I can do that too, but it's hard to do a lot of different things at once. So our Outstanding Youth Champion is Danielle Hightower. We all know them when we see them, that certain young person who you can tell has the commitment and the passion to really make a difference in our world. This award honors an engaged young person who demonstrates leadership in promoting behavior change on litter prevention, recycling, and beautification. Demonstrating initiative and leadership at a young age is usually a good sign that that certain young person is headed for success. Have you ever heard of a young person taking it upon herself to participate in her local Adopt a Street program by signing up as a group and cleaning a mile of roadway with her mother? Our award winner then went on to expand that group to include 15 more young people from the Rise Above Youth Center for Excellence in Port St. Lucie. Danielle Hightower is known for mentoring those around her and encouraging them to beautify and keep their community clean. Thanks. Danielle also assists Keep Port St. Lucie Beautiful with other important projects such as the Buddy Bench Initiative. She's an inspiration to all, and we are very happy to award her this year's Outstanding Youth Champion Award. Is Danielle with us? Yeah, give her a round of applause.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you, Georgia. I want to give a special thanks to Rebecca Booth and Keep Port St. Lucie Beautiful. When I first came into her office, I didn't think much of the project as far as, starting it. I was just like, hey, this is something that would be great, making a difference in the community. And this would be a great opportunity for my peers. But Rebecca has really noticed my group's hard work, and I just appreciate everyone so much. Thank you.
Do you have your reward too?
No, I don't.
Not yet. No.
Not yet, not yet.
Okay, well, congratulations, and wow, you are so impressive at a young age. Thank you for all that you're doing. And please, keep doing leadership roles in not only your community, but beyond, because you are a standout champion. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so
Way to
much.
go, Danielle.
Thank
Yay.
you. Oh!
Wait, I gotta get that baby back in the shot. We gotta see that baby.
Yes, the baby.
Say hi, Paxton.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you.
Aw, so adorable. So congratulations again, Danielle. Very, very happy for you, and so happy for all that you serve as well. Our next award goes to Outstanding Law Enforcement Agency, and that's Highlands County Code Enforcement. This award honors the efforts of a law enforcement officer or agency that has demonstrated a dedication to community improvement and has a strong partnership with an affiliate. The winner of this year's Outstanding Law Enforcement Award has worked in partnership with a local affiliate to facilitate community improvement projects in areas where one needs to go a little bit farther than conducting cleanups and greening things up. Sometimes code enforcement officials have to get involved, and in Highway Park, the Highlands County Code Enforcement team has done just that, using professionalism and compassion. Despite a small workforce, this team has done more to address and rectify environmental hazards, nuisance conditions, and unsafe building conditions in a way that educates and provides guidance to homeowners and property owners. A sure sign of success has been the transformation of the Highway Park neighborhood and the steady influx of families moving back in. Please join me in congratulating the Highlands County Code Enforcement team as the recipient of the Outstanding Law Enforcement Agency Award. Congratulations. Do we have a representative? And it is my understanding that they presented the Law Enforcement Award for Highlands County Code Enforcement this morning during the public Highlands County Board of Commissioners, County Commissioners meeting. And District 4 Commissioner Arlene Tuck presented the award to a grateful staff, and they were thrilled. Do we have anyone who wants to say a couple of words?
This is Evelyn from Keep Highway Park Beautiful. I just have to tell you that the team was so thrilled, and so was the Board of County Commissioners, because it is rare that that agency is recognized, because usually when they're coming, there are fines and citations, and it's no fun when you see this agency show up. So to have their hard work recognized and appreciated, they were very grateful. And we were very proud in order to be able to honor them. And we're grateful to Keep Florida Beautiful for recognizing that team. So thank you guys very much.
That's awesome. Thank you. And I agree. You know, you hear code enforcement, and probably not everyone is a big fan of many code enforcement agencies out there, but that is really a testament to the great work that they're doing there, that this award was given. So thank you so much. Our next award is Outstanding Recycling Effort, and that goes to Keep Sarasota County Beautiful. This award honors the affiliate that has demonstrated progress in recycling. Contamination of the recycling stream has been a hot topic for a while now and threatens to derail local recycling programs in some areas. Often it is a case of educating those who may not even realize they ruin a load of clean recyclables by tossing in food, garbage, and other non-recyclable items. Keep Sarasota County Beautiful teamed up with the Sarasota County Solid Waste Department to tackle this issue at a multi-family complex and use Keep America Beautiful's behavior change model and DEP's Rethink, Reset, Recycle principles. A three-phased approach consisting of action, education via door-to-door visits, which must have been pre-COVID, and delivery of colored carts and bags yielded a 95% reduction in contamination and a huge improvement over the presence of litter. Please join me in congratulating Keep Sarasota County Beautiful as the recipient of the Outstanding Recycling Effort. Yay.
Thank you. Here's our really cool award. And I don't know if anybody mentioned, but these are actually on the backs of old fan blades, which is really kind of a cool reuse kind of thing. But mine has turtles and recycling symbols on it.
I love it. That's my favorite.
So it's really kind of, there's kind of the full thing.
Wait, do that again. Do that again. And talk.
I have to talk now?
Yeah.
Oh, so I show up?
Now you can move it. Thank you.
Yeah, so as it mentioned kind of in the overview, we took a lot of the Keep America Beautiful behavior change strategies. And I have to say a big thank you to Pat DePlasco, because she consulted with me on this and gave me some ideas on ways that we could maybe do things. And we essentially had to take their recycling away and then start from the ground up and reintroduce recycling. It was a really cool project. It was back when we were doing the dual stream, and since then we have also, as a county, converted over to single stream. So I've been eat, breathe, live, sleeping, dreaming, recycling for a really long time, and I'm thankful that it's over, but I'm not happy with COVID replacing it, because that's just a pain. But anyways, thank you for recognizing us.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That is just excellent. And so, yeah, we all need that education. Our next award is Outstanding Communication Outreach, and that award goes to Keep Pensacola Beautiful. Relating to this award criteria for 2020, there was an added challenge of knowing what to post and share and determine communication strategies as Floridians dealt with stay-at-home orders, school closures, and more. This award honors the affiliate that has established a true presence through the use of communication tools and strategies while providing community assistance during the coronavirus public health emergency. With the sudden onset of COVID-19 precautions and regulations, all affiliates faced the hardship of canceled events, diminished donations, and lapsed involvement. This year's winner chose to look at this as an opportunity to further strengthen their connection with their community. Keep Pensacola Beautiful has always prided themselves in being an educational resource for all ages in Escambia County, and stay-at-home orders worked to simply broaden the outreach of this affiliate. A social media campaign was launched and labeled Green Quarantine that included eco-friendly household practices, information on social distancing outdoors, and more. How-to videos and lesson plans were created and shared for kids to enjoy in hopes of inspiring environmental stewardship. The response on Facebook and Instagram was impressive, with significant gains in the number of followers, likes, and shares. Truly, a niche had been created and paved the way for Keep Pensacola Beautiful to be the recipient of this year's Outstanding Communication Outreach Award. So congratulations to Keep Pensacola Beautiful. And do we have a representative from Keep Pensacola Beautiful, please?
Yes, there's 3 of us here, Sigrid, Maddie, and Lauren. I just want to thank these 2, especially Lauren and Maddie on my team. Maddie is our United Way AmeriCorps Vista, and she is basically just with us for a year, and her whole year was derailed with us because of COVID, but we were able to really throw ourselves into the social media aspect of it, and it's really paid off for our organization just as a whole. We've really seen our social media shares just go crazy, and that's where a lot of our page likes have come from. So we're really starting to see just a greater spread of people in our community who are following us, really thanks to the efforts of these 2. So here's our award.
Beautiful.
Can you see it? So thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. We're excited to have this award this year. Thanks. You guys want?
Thanks for the recognition.
Awesome. Thank you. And congratulations again. That's just fantastic. So yeah, we can all learn from each other in the way that we're changing our communication in today's really different world than we probably ever imagined when 2020 first rolled in. Our next award is Adopt a Waterway, and that award goes to Keep Pinellas Beautiful. This award honors the affiliate that has conducted a meaningful and productive cleanup or campaign designed to preserve and protect a water body. To truly preserve and protect a waterway requires more than just a one-time cleanup. It takes determination, dedication, and teamwork. 4 years ago, Keep Pinellas Beautiful teamed up with the Friends of Crescent Lake to revitalize Crescent Lake in St. Petersburg. The issue was the abundance of water lettuce, an invasive plant that lives on the surface of the water and has the ability to propagate to the point of choking water bodies. Trial and error helped find the best way to manually harvest the water lettuce, and over time, the cleanup settled into monthly events. Next came youth education and participation, as Keep Pinellas Beautiful organized events with youth in grades 3 to 12 that included a tour of the lake and lessons focused on its inhabitants and the influence of the water lettuce on the health of the lake. Today, after 26 monthly events yielding almost 200,000 pounds of water lettuce removed and over 2,000 pounds of litter removed, water quality in Lake Crescent is much improved. Please join me in congratulating Keep Pinellas Beautiful as the winner of the Adopt a Waterway Award. Do we have a representative?
Yes, we do. I'm kind of hoping that I had the rest of my staff on here. I don't think they turned the camera on because it's again.
We're here.
You're here. You're here. Good, 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 good. Let me show the award. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. I love it. I'll turn it this way so you can get a good view. And we got some manatees on here. We're really fortunate that we have groups that are willing to work with us. The Friends of Crescent Lake have been around a while, and we developed a relationship with them and have such a great impact coming out of it. I mean, we have monthly cleanups that we partner with them, and we have a number of different professionals from different areas that'll come in and help us with educating the volunteers that come in and actually educating us as well. So this is a well-deserved award, not only for us, but really for the Friends of Crescent Lake. Where are my guys? Anybody want to say anything? Where are you guys? You gonna be quiet now? Since when?
We're really, really appreciative. I can't turn my video on because I'm in the process of preparing to have my house tinted for termites. But we've really loved working with the Friends of Crescent Lake and some of the local schools, Shorecrest, having the students out to learn a lot about this water body and just understand the overall influence that the urban area has on this water body and all those adjacent to it as they trickle into Tampa Bay. So thank you for recognizing these efforts. As Pat mentioned, they're not our accomplishments. Really, they're the collective group, and the Friends of Crescent Lake have done an amazing job, and we're just here to support their efforts. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And every time I see a new award, I think that's my favorite. That's my favorite. Every single one of the awards has just been incredible. So, and Amanda noted that that's amazing use of repurposed material to make beautiful awards. I couldn't agree more. So congratulations again on this well-deserved award. Now, if we could only figure out how to get rid of hydrilla, I think we would be set. If somebody has some ideas, that would be awesome. But congratulations, Keep Pinellas Beautiful. Our next award is Adopt a Highway, and that award goes to Keep Panama City Beach Beautiful. This award honors the affiliate that has made a lasting contribution to the Florida Department of Transportation's Adopt a Highway program. This year's winners started out as an Adopt a Highway group and then found their way to becoming a certified affiliate. When you meet the members of this group, and consequently the founding members of the affiliate, the first thing that comes through is their passion for their local beaches and community. PCB Cleanup has been in charge of Front Beach Road and Panama City Beach for many years and has done a stellar job keeping it clean. In 2018, the members of this group decided to expand and become a certified KAB affiliate. Shortly thereafter, Keep Panama City Beach Beautiful was born, and they now promote the Adopt a Highway program in hopes that other groups will follow their lead. Now that's inspiring. Please join me in congratulating Keep Panama City Beach Beautiful as the winner of the Adopt a Highway Award. All right, we're getting lots of applause. Do we have a representative?
Yeah. Here's our award. It's actually on my phone because I'm in Dallas, and my husband opened it, took a picture of it, and sent it to me. If I have one more family emergency, this year is going to be over. But there it is. And thank you.
Beautiful, thank you. A little known fact, and I lived in Panama City twice in my life, in the beach area and the non-beach area, and I was president of the Bay Mustang Club and adopted a stretch of one of the nastiest parts of Panama City, adopted a highway, and I would get all of our club members out there. It was in the 90s, and I'm just telling you, it was really bad. But yeah, so I'm so happy to see that the beach area is getting the attention that it needs, and thank you so much for doing that, and congratulations on your well-deserved award. Our next award goes to, well, it's a Creative Community Partner Award, and that goes to the Repurpose Project in Gainesville. Every year, we create a special award to recognize the performance of an affiliate, a business, or an organization that may not have fit in our standard award categories. Here's what we have for this year. There's more to recycling than simply putting an item in the proper bin for pickup. Sometimes finding another use for that item yields more good than one can possibly imagine. Keep Alachua County Beautiful seems to have this figured out and has partnered with a local group known as the Repurpose Project. Founded in 2011, the Repurpose Project is a thrift store that works primarily to divert resources from the landfill and instead create products that have value for the community. What makes this nonprofit organization so special is the extra steps they take to address social and economic inequities in the community. For example, they're able to price phone chargers for those who are homeless at 50 cents a piece. Not long ago, the Repurpose Project partnered with the housing community for transient residents to deconstruct houses that were destined to be demolished and ultimately landfilled. Not only does that divert a substantial volume of material from the landfill, but it also creates a building supply market as part of their inventory. Now that's creative, and one of many reasons we are awarding the Repurpose Center the Creative Community Partner Award. Congratulations. Do we have a representative?
Hey, we've got a couple.
All right.
Let me just start. This is Gina from Keep Alachua County Beautiful, and we have Amanda Waddell on the line with us. And I just want to thank the folks there, Amanda and Sarah Goff and Tommy Baker and all the folks who make this happen. It's a lot of hard work to take all these materials and almost give them museum status so that when you walk in there, you realize these things have value. Take it away, Amanda.
Thanks, Gina. Yes, my name is Amanda Waddell. Sarah and Tommy couldn't make this meeting, but I'm here to represent the Repurpose Project. I have been fortunate enough to work there as their director of zero waste, so I head up any project that has to do with zero waste. But this is absolutely a great example of repurposing material for awards, and I absolutely love that. You guys are setting a great example, and the store itself is such a magical place. I hope you guys can visit when you visit Gainesville, or if you're in Gainesville. They really try to divert usable material from the landfill. Sarah is the co-founder and executive director, and she just wants to help create culture change where we value resources and think creatively of what we can do with them. So thank you.
Thanks for all you do, Amanda.
Yes.
Fantastic. That is, those are all the awards. So what I'd like to do at this time is have all the award winners turn your cameras on. Turn your cameras on and hold up your awards. If you don't have an award, just wave or something, you know. Turn your cameras on, hold up your awards. All right, that's awesome. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful awards. Congratulations, this is really fantastic. So, all right, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's move on then. We are ahead of schedule, which is always a good thing when we have these long meetings. So what I'd like to do at this time is have some closing remarks from Savannah, and then if affiliates would like to share After that, just unmute yourself and we will have some sharing time. So Savannah, please take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Gabrielle. And thank you to all of our award winners and also all of you that submitted, put in submissions for our awards this year. It's always tough. And there was a lot of good submissions. You guys do a lot of really great work. So thank you to all of you that submitted, and thank you to those who are outside of our affiliate network who joined today to participate with us and receive your awards. And thank you for all you do to support the affiliate in helping us to keep Florida beautiful. And to make it quick, I don't have a whole lot. Again, I just want to reiterate thank you to everyone. I know sitting in front of your computer for however many hours you've been here now, 4 hours, 5 hours, it's not ideal, but we just really appreciate everyone joining us and the turnout, and hope that you guys learned some stuff today and had some good takeaways from our presenters. Thank you to those guys again for joining us. We really do appreciate it. And I hope that next year we will be back on track with our in-person meetings, fingers crossed. Kristen, if you're still on, go ahead and let you guys know that we will be going to Pasco next year. If that happens, if we can do our in-person conference, we will go to Pasco, so everyone will have a chance to experience the beauty of Kristen's video in person. So we're excited for that, and keep our fingers crossed. That's all I have, I think, on this note. I know we said we would go on a little longer for anyone that wants to stay on. I know affiliate sharing is usually an important part of the conference. Everyone appreciates that time to connect and share stories and ideas and projects and things. So if any of you guys want to stay on for that, we'll keep the meeting open here. Other than that, again, thank you all. Thank you to Mary Jean and Kristen and Gabrielle. Huge shout out to you guys for helping us pull this off. And we had a few technical difficulties, but that's just technology. It's unpredictable. So thank you guys for being patient. And for anyone who wants to share or chat or anything like that, just stay on and unmute yourself and share away.
I know somebody's got something to say. You all are a vocal group. We'd love to hear from you. Did we break them, Savannah?
I know folks are tired, so I'm going to put it on the affiliates Facebook page so that y'all can see this really interesting, organically growing project where people are swapping plants here in Gainesville. There's these little plant stands that are popping up all over the place where people bring plants, take a plant, leave a plant. It's gotten some good coverage in the newspaper too, but it's fun. If you get it out of people's way, sometimes they'll just go ahead and create stuff on their own.
Get Tony to hold that sign up again. I love that. Yeah.
Who's holding a sign up? You have to speak in order for us to see you.
It was Tony.
Oh, okay. Where is Tony? Trying to find him. We've had a lot of people on here. We had 70 total participants. Actually can't find Tony. Okay.
A great turnout.
It's because we all know each other.
Well, thank you for everyone
Good to
putting
see
really
everyone.
nice comments in the chat box. We appreciate it so much. And yeah, any final thoughts? Mic is open for you. If anyone would like to speak, I'm going to unmute everyone and just talk away, or we can just all say goodbye to each other if you don't have anything to say.
Stay safe, y'all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Hey, Debbie, good to see you.
Bye,
Love your back.
everyone.
Thank you.
Great meeting.
Thank
Gina.
you. Bye. Y'all take care.
Bye.
Hi, everybody.
Riley says bye.
That was great. He's a talker. Thank you. We'll go ahead and end the meeting now then. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Stay safe.
Thank you.